Welcome to the Connect with BMC Helix webinar series. For those that don't already know, we're running this on a monthly basis. So this is the June the 19th edition. Hopefully you're going to have some fun today. We've got a slightly different setup and format. We will go through, and hopefully you would have received an updated email just telling you about the demo environment you can set up. So today's session is on practical examples. So I'm really pleased that my co-host with me today is going to go through some instructions just as a reminder if you don't have the demo set up ready. But first of all, let's start with introductions. So my name is Samantha Hudson dos Santos Figueira. I work as a Senior Program Manager at BMC. Some of you may have gone on other events, mainly webinars that I'm doing across all of our different products, but this particular one is our AIOps webinar series. It's a mix of teaching you different parts of the tool, but also interactive parts of the session as well. If you do want to connect or you have any ideas around future webinars, feel free to connect to me via LinkedIn. This set of slides will be sent out today, so you'll be able to connect with my LinkedIn page. I'm now going to hand over to my colleague, Yaron, to give his introduction before we get started. Over to you, Yaron.
Thanks, Sam, and welcome everybody to the webinar. We're coming to you today both in a slightly different format, but also from a very different location. So we're doing a webinar today. I'm doing a webinar today from Copenhagen, and we're presenting at the TM Forum Ignite conference. So I got in the past 2 days and most of tomorrow as well to talk to a lot of our customers and a lot of people at the conference about AIOps. So really exciting stuff. And hopefully we're going to share some of that in one of our future sessions. So by way of introduction, my name is Yaron. I'm a product director with BMC. My specialty is IT operations management, so ITOM. And the session we're going to have today, like Sam mentioned, has a slightly different format. What we're going to do is we have a live guided demo that you can participate in and follow along as I show the different components of it. So if you haven't registered before, don't worry about it. You can do it now. And let's walk through a little bit of what that means, how you can register right now as we're doing this. The cool thing about it is you're going to get an environment for yourself that you can play around with, both follow along during the session, but also use it for about 2 weeks after the session, so after you register. And let's get started. So next slide, please.
So
Sam?
just before we get started, just a reminder, and forgive me, I should have mentioned there is the Q&A section of Zoom. So if you have any questions during this session, please put them in there. We will try to reach them, but we will also have some time at the end where we will open up for live Q&A. So I just want to let everyone know you can use that Q&A section. And you'll remain muted until the end just so we can get through the demo. Okay, over to you, Yaron.
And just to remind everybody, this session is being recorded. So the first thing is, so what are the AIOps guided demos or the demos themselves? So essentially, we've covered certain common use cases that we want to allow you to experience for yourselves. And what that allows you to do is you get a real live environment, has demo data in it, and you're going to get a set of cues to go through different use cases. Now you can either follow along or you can go what we call go off-roading, meaning not go through a specific demo, but just play around and see the different features, because these are real life SaaS environments, just like our customers have. Next slide, please. So to get started, really, very easy to do. There are 3 very basic steps. You need to register on our website on bmc.com. You should have received the link in the email. You should also be able see it in the chat. If you have any issues getting to the link or anything like that, just put it in the chat, and we've got both Thad and David on a call today who can help us with that. So the link should take you to the registration page. You fill out this form. I'll show it to you live in a minute. And once you do register, what's going to happen is you're going to get an email with your credentials. So what you get is you get a URL with your environment in it. You get a username assigned to you, which is usually your email address, and a password, right? And all you need to do is you click on the link, the URL, put in your username and your password, and you're good to go. Next slide, please. Once you do log in, you're going to get to, once you do click on the URL link, you're going to get to a sign on page. So to the login page, just put in the credentials that you got in the email, and that's it. One really important tip that I learned from the team from the amazing team who built this is when you copy and paste the password, remember that it usually has a trailing space at the end. You need to take that off. Otherwise, it's not going to let you log in. So let's talk just a little bit about what you can expect from the guided demo. So first of all, like we said before, you get 2 weeks to play around with it. I'm really hoping that everybody on the session today is going to follow along as I go through one or two of the use cases, because I feel it's always more valuable that that it becomes a little bit more interactive and you can actually do it as you're watching it. The in-app step by step, you'll see it in a minute. It's very intuitive. You can always go back, restart. So we have what we call the guided demo bot. You're going to see it in a minute. Then, like I said before, you can go off-roading. So just play around with anything in our solution, play around with the demo data. But do take into account that the tenant is defined as read-only. What that means is that you cannot save things, obviously, and you cannot change configuration. So there are certain instances where you may try to do things, and even if you don't think you're changing something, you may get an error, but that's probably due to the tenant itself, so to your username and the password that you're using, to it being read-only. And the reason why we make it read-only is that these are obviously shared tenants, and we don't want one user interfering with what another user is doing. And now after the demo, and after you go through it and after you register, you are going to get a couple of follow-up emails that are designed to make sure that we kind of reveal all the different areas that you can play around with. And again, quite honestly, anybody who's interested in AIOps or in IT operations management, it's a lot of fun playing around with these environments. So I really do encourage you to go in, to register, to get your credentials, and play around with it. And last but not least, we do have a dedicated team of brilliant people who can help you out with if you have any questions, or as time goes. 2 weeks sometimes seems like a very short period of time. So if you want an extension, so if you want anything beyond the 2 weeks, please feel free to email us at this email address. It's all going to be in a follow-up email, but just want to make sure that everybody knows about this. So I do see that there is one hand raised with a question, Sam. So I see.
Yes, I was just going to ask if Scott could put it into the Q&A if he hasn't already. We'll just quickly check when you take the screen over if he's having problems with his demo environment.
Yeah, I can see Scott's questions. I don't see a link in the chat to register to the demo environment. So Sam, can you please repaste that?
I'll reply yes, so everyone can see Scott's one. I'll do that as soon as you take over the screen share, so it doesn't pop up.
Yeah, I'm going to take right.
And actually,
so
Yaron, while we're talking, there's a bit of a delay with you talking. Would you mind coming off camera when you do your demo? Because I think it's causing bandwidth. There's a bit of a stutter between the voice. Might be
Okay, so
better. Thank you.
I'm gonna turn off my camera just to make sure that we're conserving bandwidth.
Great.
Anybody who's done any travel knows that hotels are not the most reliable. They don't have the most reliable internet. Okay, so Sam, are we good for me to take over now?
Yes, please do.
Okay, let's do this. Okay, so for everybody, this is so just to go back, so the link should either bring you into here, right? So this is our general product and trial demos page on bmc.com. So if you get here, you want to click on this, the first one, the highlighted one, which is BMC Helix Operation Management with AIOps. The link may also take you to here, which is a registration page. So, it's not a long registration. So you just fill in your basic information here. Please do make sure that you do put in the right email address, because the credentials and the link to your environment are going to be sent here to the email that you filled in here. And that's about it. You do these two check boxes, start guided demo, which should send you the email. Now, once you get the email, but before I go into that, I think do we have any other questions or queries in here?
No, that everyone that's had questions have been answered by our wonderful panelists, so we're good to go.
Oh, that's outstanding. Thank you, guys. Okay, so once you go into here, you're going to be prompted to log in, and you put in your credentials, and finally, you should get to this page, right? Now, when you get to this page, please make sure that it says, welcome to the guided demo for BMC Helix Operations Management with AIOps. Because we do have, and let me show you this, if you go to our demo bot on the bottom right, so this circle over here, you'll see that we have a whole menu of different demos that you can go through. So the one we're going to go through today is going to be the operations management. So this is the first one on the list. So if you see anything else, or it disappears on you, anything else, or you want to restart, just go back here, click on the little bot, select this, and you should get the menu. Well, this has probably been open for too long, so let me just refresh. Okay, let's re-log in and see what happens. First rule of demos. So, stand by. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second, and we're just going to go back and do it again. So we go back. Okay, so hopefully everybody can see my screen again.
Yes, we're good.
Okay, excellent. So this is our main menu, right, for the Helix operations management with AIOps. And we're going to pick the first one, which is the BMC Helix AIOps demonstration. So we just click into here, and it opens up a new tab that's going to take us into BMC Helix Service Management. So this essentially, what you're seeing here is the AIOps main console. And so this is how the demo actually goes. So you see a little explanation of what we're going to be seeing today. and a little bit of information, general information. And if you go ahead and click next, this is where we start the demo. So this is a service monitoring overview. So one of the main things when you're doing AIOps versus if you're just dealing with monitoring an event is a concept of business services that essentially define specific business objectives and services that you provide to users, maybe internal users or external users. And for this, the main console is the service monitoring overview, which gives you very relevant information about your services, right? So the first one you can see here is the total number of services that you have defined, right? You can also see a trend. So this is looking at 24 hours right now. So you can see that there are 48 events as of the last 48 hours, and you can see the trend in that. You can see how many anomalies were detected in the past 24 hours, how many incidents were opened, what's your mean time to repair, and what the trend is, and what is the noise reduction. Now, noise reduction is a really important concept when you're talking about AIOps. So noise reduction is our ability to use artificial intelligence and machine learning to take a lot of events that may be coming in from a large number of sources and different types of information that may be coming in, and grouping those and correlating all of that information into what we call situations, right? So situations tell you what is going on, while events give you information about specific items or specific events that have happened. This is a very important concept. So I was talking to a large telecom today, and I was giving an example that we've seen 3,000 events happen due to a single issue, a single failure in a system. And the guy was looking at me saying, no. We've seen 10,000, we've seen 13,000 different events from different systems being generated because of a single fault. And noise reduction is our ability to take all of that noise that no human can actually understand and make sense of and be proactive about, and bringing that all down to a single situation. So if we click next, so now we're looking at the different services that we have. And what we can see is, we can see that we have the total number of services, how many of them are in critical, how many are in major, minor, and okay. We can see the health score. And again, this is where AIOps comes in, where this health score represents a correlation of a lot of different factors that may impact a specific business service. So a business service may have many dozens, and sometimes even more than that, of different items in it. So servers, databases, network devices, whatever it is, they're all sitting in a service. Now, how do you define the health of a service? So this is one of the items that AIOps knows how to do. It knows how to take all that information about a lot of different CIs and represent them as a single number showing the actual health of the service. So you can see I have quite a few services that are impacted. I can see an event trend. So we see that this specific service has a 100% increase in the number of events. So this is probably one that I want to look at because it's having a lot of events and an impact on its health score. So if I click next, I can see that I have a list of my situations. And I can see that the first one on this list is my retail outlet, okay, which is the one we're going to focus today. So if we click next, we're going to go into on this side, on the left side, you see that we have the retail outlet highlighted. So we're going to click on that to get a better view of what is going on with this business service. So if I click on that, it takes us to the business service overview, right? So the first thing we want to do, just to have a better view of this demo, right now it's set to show a timeline here of 3 hours. So now it's asking us to click on the 3 hours just so we can change it. And now it's asking us to select 24 hours just so we get a better view of what is going on. So a really important thing that you can see now that we've moved to 24 hours, you can see that I have these two markers or ticks here under the timeline. And what those are showing me, they're showing me two pieces of really, really important information. So the bottom one, the circle, is telling me about a change that was made at a specific time. So what we're able to do is we're able to tap into your IT service management solution and get information about changes from there and show them on the timeline. So why is this important? Well, when talking to customers, we've learned that changes in configuration, changes in hardware, changes in capacity, all of these changes that are pretty frequent in any IT environment usually carry a high risk. And because these are risky operations, they may cause issues afterwards. So if I see, like I do see here, that at this point in time on the timeline, I had a change happen, and then I started to get events, that means that there's usually a correlation between these two. So somebody made a change, so they registered a change in the IT service management, right? So we're getting the information from there, and it pretty well correlates with when events started to flow in. So this is very important, and this talks to one part or one aspect of the concept of service ops. So service ops is the ability to bring IT operations management and AI ops together with ITSM, with IT service management and service management AI, so AI service management, AISM. When you bring these two together, the two together bring more value than each one on their own, because if you can see the operational side, so the events and the change that happened in one place on a single timeline, that's usually a really, really good indication of where you should be looking next in order to fix this issue. So if I click next, the next thing you can see is another concept that we have spoken about in the past, which is the topology and the makings of a business service. So what you can see here is a simplified view of the different components, excuse me, that are relevant for this service, including starting from a causal node. So a causal node is the entity that AIOps has determined is the root cause of the other problems that you may be experiencing. So if we mouse over this, don't click, but if we just mouse over this, you can see that we have a chain of events that I can follow along and see that even though I'm getting a lot of events from this node, a lot of events from this node, the ones that I should be focusing on are the events that I'm getting from this node because it is a causal node. So these are symptoms of the problem, while this is the root cause of the problem. So seeing this topology, again, makes it a lot simpler, a lot quicker to fix problems. So if we click next, we can have a slightly bigger, larger view of the topology. And if we remove the filters, we can see a little bit more of what this topology actually looks like. So I remove the filters. So now you can see that our business service is bigger, actually, than just what we saw before. What we saw before was just the causal node and the nodes affected. But if I want to look at the entire service, I can do that too. Now, if I click next, I can also say I'm not interested in seeing only what's related to the causal node, but I want to see the entire service. And that's what I see here. And again, you can navigate through this and see what's causing what. So business services may be as complex as they need to be, right? And business services are, by nature, complex. But we make it simpler. We make it human consumable, because we let you focus on what's important. And what is important is, how do I fix the problem that I'm having with this business service quickly and effectively? So if we go on, we can just go ahead here. So we're prompted to close this view. And the next thing is what we call health indicators. So if we click on this band over here, it's going to expand, and we're going to see the different health indicators. So what are health indicators? Well, every business service may have different metrics that are relevant for the health of that service. So it may be one metric, it may be a combination of metrics, but we know if there's a change in those, that usually means that there's a problem with this business service. So what's important here is that I can define whatever health indicators I want. And what I can see is that in this case, I have two sites, and I can see that one site is experiencing a drop in this health indicator, but the other site is doing the same. It's also having a drop in the same place. That means that even though these two sites may be geographically different, they're both affected by something, right, that is having an effect on both. And you can go down and you can actually, look at that better and see exactly what's going on. So this is another way of trying to figure out and understand what went wrong and how do I fix it quickly. So if we click next, so I saw my health indicators, I saw my topology, I understood, what it looks like. Now let's try and analyze the root cause. So the root cause being, what started this whole mess? Where do I need to look first in order to fix the problem that I'm having? So if we click down here on the Analyze Root Cause, you can see that I have a specific event that is being highlighted as the root cause of the problem. So you see it's a log event for the infrastructure. You can hover over it and see a little bit more explanation. So I know what my causal host is. I know what event I should be looking at that will most probably give me the most important part of, and the best indicator where I should go and fix the problem. So I click next. And you can see that, you remember we talked before about changes. So changes are risky, and changes can oftentimes indicate where I should be looking for the problem. So I can also see a list of the changes that were made to this specific causal node, causal host. And again, it gives me a great indication of what went wrong. So you see I have incident change IDs here. I know when the changes were made. So one change was made about 15 hours ago. The rest were a few days ago. And again, this is breaking down the silos of operations management and service management. We are, true AIOps means bringing in all the information you need in order to either fix problems before they happen, and if it's unavoidable and a problem does happen, you're able to fix it quickly. In order to do that, there's no other way of doing it effectively except for having the ability to bring together service management and IT operations management together into one place. And I'll repeat what I think I've said in every session we've had so far. The key is that the outcomes for AIOps, and honestly, any AI and machine learning initiative that you have, the quality of your outcomes is directly affected by the amount of information you have, but also by having a lot of information of different types. So you want service information, you want metrics, you want changes, you want incidents, you want service tickets, you want logs, you want traces, you want all of that information in, because the more information you have, the more types of information you have and you can make sense of, will determine how effective your AIOps is. And a good AIOps solution will bring in types of information that you may not think could be brought in. For instance, if you have runbooks, if you have knowledge articles, if you have tickets and discussions that went around between people based on service tickets or change tickets, using what we call Helix GPT. And by the way, I don't remember exactly when, Sam, but she's going to tell us soon. We have a new series starting soon that's going to be hosted by our brilliant colleagues from the Helix GPT side that is talking about how to use GPT and large language models in IT operations management and IT service management. So all that goes into why do we have this change information here, why it's valuable to bring in all that information in. So if we click next, we can now go ahead and analyze the situation that we're trying to deal with, that we're trying to fix. And we see the situation details, so we see what the actual situation is, so a little bit of text about what it is, when it happened, how many similar situations we've had in the past. This is one of the features of AIOps that I really love, and it's similar situations. So AIOps is able to do what we call situation fingerprinting. So every situation, which if you remember is just a correlation of multiple events that reduce noise. So multiple events, we're able to fingerprint that situation. And then if a similar situation happens in the future, it may not be the exact same one, right? It may have slightly different sources, slightly different events, slightly different data. But if it has the same fingerprint, if it looks similar enough, we're going to draw your attention to it. And that's important because if you've already solved this type of situation in the past, you can look back into the past and see exactly what you did in order to fix it last time. That's a wonderful indication of how about we do that again, and it's probably going to work. So that's really important for similar situations. We can see all the related events. So again, noise reduction. So we see here that we have 27 events reduced into a single situation. Again, this is just demo data, so we went ahead and made it 27 events. But I've seen much larger numbers in real life operational systems. We see the type. So if we go to that, we can see that this is an AI generated situation. We see that it's critical, was priority 1. We can see the status that it's still open. But we can also see that we have suggestions for 3 automations that are likely going to be helpful in solving this, right? So this is all very important, and we'll see automations in a minute. So here, if we had an incident ID that was open for this situation, we could click in and then go back into our service management console. And again, this is really important. So the ability to have feedback and feeding in information from service management is critical. So we're essentially using AIOps and AI service management to link the two teams together. There's a service team and the operations team, where opening up a ticket already has an indication of what the service is that's impacted and who I should go to in order to fix the ticket that was open. It comes back and gets transformed into a situation in AIOps, and then AIOps can look at a situation, but also feed that back in to service management as an incident. So it's two-way communications. And again, that's breaking the silos between operations management and service management. So I'm going to pause here. I think there may be some questions that are open, or are we good?
We're good. The guys have been very good at answering all the questions.
Okay,
We only
cool.
had one question, but I think if you're okay to wait till the end, we can go to anchors at the end.
Okay, yeah, that's
Okay.
cool. Thank you. Thanks, Sam. Okay, so if we had an incident, it would be here. So if we click next. So now I can go in, and just to remind you, we've looked at the service so far. Now let's go drill down and look at the situation itself. So I can go in and I can click on the situation, and that should bring us to the situation overview page. So the first part I want to focus on here is the story part. And what do I mean by the story part? A situation is essentially a story that says A happened, it caused B, B happened, it caused C, and so forth, as a story, right? That story should be made as simple as possible. So if it's a database issue, I shouldn't be a database expert to understand that if the database failed, the application failed, or the application cluster failed, and then an application instance failed. I shouldn't be an expert, right? That's what I have AIOps for, right? To tell me that story. So you can see here that in our case, a network device failed, which triggered an event, which triggered another event on the network device layer. But this failure on the network level prompted a multitude. So you can see each one of these numbers is the number of events. So a multitude of different events that happened on the software component layer and on the software cluster layer. So you can, right off the bat, graphically see what the story is behind this situation. So if I click next, I can go, and instead of seeing this graphic view, which is very informative because it really tells a story, I can also go in and see just a list of the changes that were made that are relevant for the situation. So we don't have any changes in this demo data right now. So if we click next, the next thing you see is, so you remember I told you it's a story that we can make out from that diagram of events that we saw before? Good AIOps is also telling the story in human readable form. So the ability to use GPT and large language models to look at a situation, which is correlation, multiple events, and a lot of other information, and then tell you, the operator, in very plain English, what happened. So you can see that I had an infrastructure down on the network, on a network device issue, and it tells me a story, right? the situation began here, it caused this on this node, and then the next thing happened, and the next thing happened. So again, I don't need to be a network guru, right? And I don't need to bring in everybody from the network team into a room and have a war room in order to understand this. This is human speech, right? This is human language. Anybody can understand what's written here. So that's the summarization in human readable form of the situation. If I click next, I can go in and not just see a summary of what happened, but because we know how to identify the fingerprint of a situation, and because AIOps knows how to analyze it, we're also able to give you a set of best action recommendations. So if we click on Show Remediation Steps, we have an engine here that is going to show us what the best action recommendations are. So I have a set of different recommendations of what I should do. And again, this is learning from the past and learning from similar situations that have happened in the past, what I should do in order to remediate this and get my service back to health. How are we doing for time, Sam?
So we've got about 16 minutes left of in the hour. I know that we do want to leave a little bit of time for Q&A, so I don't know if you want to continue a little bit further and leave 10 minutes at the
I
end.
just need a couple more minutes.
Okay.
Thanks, Sam. Okay, great. Okay, so we saw the bar, the best action recommendation. And again, just to share with you, in the world of AIOps, this is the top right now, right? The ability to get best action recommendations. So we go from, we reduce the noise, we know about anomalies so we can detect when something's going wrong, to giving you all the information about the root cause, and we reduce the noise, we make it up into a situation, and then we tell you, given the situation, given everything we know about your specific environment, here's what you should do in order to fix the problem that you're having right now. And if we click next, so we can open the actions here and with the 3 dots. And if we select trigger automation, and then based on the best action recommendations, I see that I have recommendations that are going to fix my problem. So I'm going to click next. And that's it. So this is a classic use case that's showing you how AIOps can help. It can help bring service management and operations management together. It can help you fix problems quicker. It has the ability to learn from the past and help you automate. And at the end of the road, it can also help you get to be a self-healing organization where automations get triggered automatically when your AI engine recognizes that a situation has happened that may have happened in the past. You know how you fixed it last time. Let's fix it again in the same way. So that ends this guided demo. If you kind of fell off in the middle or something happened, don't worry about it. You can always, you've got 2 weeks of this environment. You can always go back in and go back to this screen, select the same one, or as you can see, we have many other use cases that you can use. You can also go from, so this is operations management. You can go back in and you can go into our discovery one, or you can also go into our continuous optimization, which I'm hoping we're going to go through in one of the future sessions. So operations, discovery, ITSM, so IT service management, HR services. So, you got an overview here, documentation. So a lot of good stuff with these environments. Like I said, if you need an extension, if 2 weeks is not enough, shoot us off an email and we'd be happy to extend it. So Sam, it's back over to you.
Okay, wonderful. So I'm just going to obviously unmute everyone, but while I get started, let's take Anchor's question. So the question in the Q&A was, is Helix intelligent integration is charged separately based on the number of integration use cases, or can we integrate any tools without an additional cost? Thanks for your question, Anchor.
Well, it really depends on your use case. And I would certainly encourage you to get in touch either with myself or if you work with anybody from our business development or sales side, and we'll be happy to answer. But again, that's based on your specific use case. Any other questions that we have in this?
Yes, we do. I'm just going to give Anchor the opportunity. Anchor, if you did want to speak to Yaron, feel free to come off mute. Otherwise, I'll move to the next question. We do actually have another product question. Actually, it's about licensing, and I'm guessing Yaron, that's going to be the same response from you as well regarding speaking with the account manager. I don't know how else you'd like to answer that one. That was the second question we had.
Yeah, and again, licensing really, and again, in this series, we're not really talking about, a specific product. It's more a general AIOps discussion. But yeah, we'll be happy to answer all these questions. Just please do reach out either to Sam or to myself or to whoever you're working with at BMC.
Okay, and then the next question we had is, could you feedback the Helix GPT if a recommendation is the best? This is from Alejandro.
Yes, that is coming very soon. That we're going to be able to have a feedback loop with our users. So we can, so you can feedback and say, yes, this recommendation worked fine. Well, no, the second recommendation may be better. So yes, we are adding that into the product.
Thank you, Yaron.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, that's all the questions that we had in the chat. So I don't know if anybody else wants to come off mute and ask some questions, and we'll do our best to answer those today. Otherwise, I'll take us back to our final slide. So I'll just give everyone a few minutes if you want to either put your question in the Q&A, raise your hand, or just come off mute. Or even just let us know if this was useful for you, because we're certainly, Yaron and I have agreed that we like the idea of giving you guys access to demos. So hopefully this experience is more interactive for you. So interested to hear some feedback. If it's not in our survey post-event, if any of you want to just share some feedback.
And just one more comment about that. Just be aware that we're constantly, or actually the brilliant team that we have running this. And I just want to give a shout out to Thad and David. Thank you guys. You're, incredible job with this, and thank you for helping us show this today. We're constantly evolving and improving our demos. So if you have any thoughts or comments, please do reach out. You have that email that I showed before, and it's going to be in one of the follow-up emails, where you can just email us ideas or thoughts of other things that you want. But also keep in mind that you may want to revisit these demos, because they keep getting better and keep evolving to be better. And that's it. Sam, back over to you.
Just want to check that you can see my screen, and I'm just going to go back onto the slide. So just really a bit of a reminder for those that are always looking for content. We've got a couple of options here. So if you haven't seen our first sessions, I've put some links in there. Again, don't worry about taking this information now. I will be sending out this slide deck, so you'll have the questions and answers, the slides, the recording, and any recommended education. There's also some past content that we think might be useful to help you on your journey with AIOps, and also the specific subscription for education's at the bottom. And if you don't really know too much about AIOps, you've also got some useful documentation at the top. So just really a call to action there. And then we've got some other ones which are just about getting started. So I've just finalized this to make it a bit easier. And you'll also find some really good content on our YouTube channel, not just the one that we'll share with you after this event, but we have an IDD one. That is our documentation teams playlist and channel. So you can follow that by clicking on the YouTube link, which obviously will be out in the slides that will be sent to you. And then just a final call to action, our AIOps webinar series is all hosted from the BMC community page, but the links are obviously set up from an event. Our next session that Yaron and I are doing for our monthly will be session 5. We will be speaking to a partner. A partner will be sharing their insights. So we've got something really exciting for the next session. And we are also in planning for August and September. We've already got stuff in the pipeline. So click and subscribe to that AIOps webinar series page. Again, when you get your survey, if there's anything else that you would like us to cover, we're pretty much covered up to September now, but if there's anything else, we'd be more than welcome to hear your feedback. And again, we're going to start doing a few more demos. Yaron would have loved to have done the capacity one today, but we had a fear that we might run out of time. So we will be doing that session in a later series. That's it. So I don't have anything further to share. Hopefully you've enjoyed this session. Everything will be sent out in the next 24 hours to you. If you've got any feedback, 5 minutes will take to fill in the survey that will come from your thank you email. Yaron, any final comments?
No, just to say thank you very much to everybody for joining. And just to echo what Sam said, our next session is going to be a real life story of how one company went from traditional event management to AIOps. And it's going to be stories from the field. So really exciting stuff. And really it's going to be a kind of a teaching guide of what you can expect on your journey. And that's it for me, Sam. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you everyone for attending today. Hope you've enjoyed the session, and we'll see you if it's not before the next month's session. All my webinars are updated on the event page of communities. Again, I'll also share that link out in the post follow-up feedback that we'll be sending out. So thank you everyone, and thank you Yaron for presenting today, and thank you to Thad and David who have made this possible with the guided demo.